Crash Course on China Communist Party, CCP. Why does CCP want to rule the world? By ChatGPT. The Communist Party of China, CCP, was founded in 1921 and is currently the world's largest political party, with over 95 million members. The CCP is the ruling party of China, and it operates under a single-party system. The CCP's ideology is Marxist-Leninist-Maoist, and its goal is to create a socialist society in which the state controls the means of production and distribution. Since coming to power in 1949, the CCP has maintained strict control over China's political, social, and economic systems. Marxism-Leninism-Maoism is an adaptation of Marxist theory, which was developed by the German philosopher Karl Marx in the 19th century. Marxism posits that society is divided into two classes: the ruling class, which controls the means of production, and the working class, which provides the labor. According to Marx, this class struggle is the primary driving force behind historical change. Leninism is a further development of Marxism that was developed by Vladimir Lenin, the leader of the Russian Revolution. Leninism places a greater emphasis on the importance of a vanguard party, which is a disciplined and centralized organization that is dedicated to leading the working class in revolution. Maoism is a further development of Marxism-Leninism that was developed by Mao Zedong, the founder of the People's Republic of China. Maoism places a greater emphasis on the importance of mass mobilization and revolutionary struggle. Mao believed that the key to building a socialist society was to empower the masses, especially peasants and workers, to take an active role in the revolutionary process. The CCP's adaptation of Marxist-Leninist-Maoist theory places a strong emphasis on the importance of the party in leading the revolutionary struggle. The party is seen as the vanguard of the working class and the guiding force behind China's socialist development. The CCP also places a strong emphasis on mass mobilization, with campaigns such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution designed to mobilize the masses and create a revolutionary spirit. The CCP's final goal is to establish a socialist society in China and eventually a communist society in which the state has withered away and the means of production are collectively owned by the people. However, the CCP's approach to achieving this goal has been marked by a series of political movements and campaigns, some of which have resulted in widespread social and economic upheaval. In recent years, the CCP has shifted its focus towards economic reform and opening up to the world. The party has embraced market-oriented economic policies and sought to enhance China's trade and investment ties with other countries. However, the CCP remains committed to its Marxist-Leninist-Maoist ideology and its ultimate goal of building a socialist society in China. In terms of the CCP's ambition to rule the world, it is difficult to say whether this is a concrete goal or simply a means of expanding China's influence and enhancing its national security. However, it is clear that the CCP sees itself as a major player on the world stage and is actively seeking to expand its influence through initiatives such as the Belt and Road Initiative and the establishment of military bases abroad. Bu Wang Chu Xin is a phrase that has been frequently used by Xi Jinping, the current General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, CCP. The phrase can be translated as, "Never forget why you started," or, "Stay true to the original aspiration." It is often used by Xi Jinping in the context of the CCP's founding mission and the party's commitment to the Chinese people. In his speeches and writings, Xi Jinping has emphasized the importance of staying true to the original aspiration of the CCP, which is to serve the people and promote socialist values. The phrase Bu Wang Chu Xin is seen as a call to action for party members to remain committed to this mission and to never lose sight of the party's founding principles. In practical terms, Bu Wang Chu Xin is often used by Xi Jinping as a way of emphasizing the need for party members to maintain their political integrity and to resist corruption and other forms of political deviation. The phrase is also used to emphasize the need for party members to remain dedicated to serving the people and to work tirelessly to improve their lives. Overall, Bu Wang Chu Xin is a powerful slogan that reflects Xi Jinping's commitment to the CCP's founding principles and his vision for the party's future. It is seen as a key element of the CCP's ideological framework and a reminder to party members of their responsibilities to the Chinese people and the socialist cause. The CCP's rule in China has been marked by a series of political movements and campaigns, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, which caused widespread social and economic upheaval. In recent years, the CCP has pursued a policy of economic reform and opening up to the world, which has led to China becoming one of the world's largest economies. One of the CCP's main objectives is to maintain its grip on power in China. To this end, the party has developed an extensive system of surveillance and control, which allows it to monitor and suppress dissent. The CCP also maintains strict control over the media and the Internet, censoring content that it deems sensitive or critical of the party. In recent years, there has been concern that the CCP's ambitions extend beyond China's borders. The party's growing economic and military power has led some to worry that it seeks to expand its influence and assert its dominance on the world stage. One way in which the CCP seeks to achieve its global ambitions is through the Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project that seeks to connect China with the rest of Asia, Europe, and Africa. The initiative involves building a network of railways, highways, ports, and other infrastructure projects, which would enhance China's trade and investment ties with the rest of the world. The CCP also seeks to expand its global influence through the use of soft power. This involves promoting Chinese culture and values through initiatives such as the Confucius Institutes, which are language and cultural centers that have been set up in countries around the world. Another example of the CCP's global ambitions is its growing military power. China has been rapidly modernizing its military in recent years, and it has become increasingly assertive in territorial disputes in the South China Sea and East China Sea. China has also been expanding its military presence abroad, setting up a military base in Djibouti and increasing its naval presence in the Indian Ocean. The CCP's global ambitions have been met with concern and criticism from some quarters. Some have accused China of using its economic power to coerce other countries into doing its bidding, while others have raised concerns about China's human rights record and its treatment of ethnic and religious minorities. In recent years, the United States has taken a more confrontational approach towards China, with both countries engaging in a trade war and a series of diplomatic disputes. The Biden administration has sought to engage with China on issues such as climate change and the COVID-19 pandemic, but it has also signaled that it will take a firm stance on issues such as human rights and military expansion. Here are 12 major disasters or harms that have occurred in China during the rule of the China Communist Party since 1949. 1. Great Leap Forward, 1958 to 1962. This was an economic and social campaign launched by Mao Zedong that resulted in a massive famine and the deaths of an estimated 15 to 45 million people due to government mismanagement and forced collectivization. 2. Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976. This was a political movement launched by Mao Zedong to purge perceived enemies of the Communist Party and promote his ideology. The movement led to widespread violence and persecution, as well as the destruction of cultural and historical artifacts. The exact death toll is unknown, but estimates range from hundreds of thousands to several million. 3. Tiananmen Square protests, 1989. This was a pro-democracy protest led by students and intellectuals that was brutally suppressed by the Chinese government, resulting in the deaths of hundreds or possibly thousands of people. 4. SARS outbreak, 2002–2003. This was a severe acute respiratory syndrome epidemic that originated in China and was initially covered up by the government, resulting in the spread of the disease and approximately 800 deaths worldwide. 5. Xinjiang re-education camps, 2014–present. This is an ongoing human rights violation in which the Chinese government has detained over 1 million Uyghur Muslims in internment camps in Xinjiang province, allegedly for re-education purposes. The exact number of deaths is unknown, but there have been reports of torture, forced labor, and deaths in the camps. 6. Hong Kong pro-democracy protests, 2019–2020. This was a series of protests in Hong Kong against the Chinese government's attempts to erode the city's autonomy and suppress democratic freedoms. The exact number of deaths is unknown, but there were reports of police brutality and violence against protesters. 7. COVID-19 pandemic, 2019–present. This is a global pandemic that originated in China and was initially covered up by the government, leading to the spread of the disease and millions of deaths worldwide. 8. Environmental disasters. China has experienced numerous environmental disasters due to industrial pollution, including the 2005 Songhua River chemical spill, which affected millions of people and caused at least 5 deaths, and the 2013 Lanzhou water contamination incident, which affected over 2.4 million people. 9. Human rights violations. The Chinese government has been accused of numerous human rights violations, including arbitrary detention, torture, and suppression of freedom of speech and religion. The exact number of deaths related to these violations is unknown, but there have been reports of deaths in custody and deaths related to forced labor and repression. 10. One-child policy, 1979 to 2015. This was a policy implemented by the Chinese government to control population growth that led to forced abortions, sterilizations, and other human rights abuses. The exact number of deaths related to this policy is unknown, but there were reports of forced abortions and sterilizations, which could have led to maternal deaths and other complications. 11. Three Gorges Dam, 2003–present. This is the world's largest hydroelectric dam, built by the Chinese government on the Yangtze River. The construction of the dam has led to widespread environmental damage and displacement of millions of people, but the exact number of deaths related to this project is unknown. 12. Urumqi riots, 2009. This was a series of riots and ethnic clashes that occurred in Urumqi, the capital city of Xinjiang. Since the Communist Party took control of China in 1949, there have been many disasters and harms to Chinese people. These include the Great Leap Forward, which led to a massive famine and the deaths of an estimated 15 to 45 million people, the Cultural Revolution, which led to widespread violence and persecution, and the Tiananmen Square protests, which were brutally suppressed by the government. Other disasters and harms include the ongoing Xinjiang re-education camps, environmental disasters, human rights violations, and the one-child policy, which led to forced abortions and sterilizations. These events have caused the deaths of millions of people and have had a significant impact on Chinese society. It's important to note that this is not an exhaustive list, and there may be other events or issues that individuals or groups would consider to be major disasters or harms caused by the Chinese government. In conclusion, the CCP's global ambitions are driven by its desire to maintain its grip on power in China and to expand its influence on the world stage. While China's economic and military power has grown rapidly in recent years, there are concerns about the CCP's approach to human rights and its treatment of ethnic and religious minorities. As China continues to assert its influence on the world stage, it will be important for countries to engage with China while also standing firm on issues of concern. Here a poem to remember these disasters and harms caused by CCP rule for China. In the land of the dragon, where the red flag flies high, the Communist Party rules. With an iron fist, they apply the Great Leap Forward. A famine so severe, millions died of hunger. In the midst of despair, the Cultural Revolution, violence and persecution. Intellectuals were targeted for their ideas and expression. Tiananmen Square protests. Students stood for their rights, but the tanks rolled in and silenced their fight. Xinjiang's re-education camps. A modern-day tragedy. Uyghurs detained and tortured. Their freedom just a fantasy. Environmental disasters. Pollution choking the air. The government turns a blind eye as citizens gasp for air. Human rights violations. Oppression and suppression. A system that values power over individual expression. The one-child policy. Forced abortions and sterilizations. Families torn apart in the name of population control. These tragedies and harms. A dark chapter in China's story. We must never forget. The victims and the glory. ****, start planning your next global adventure with ease and convenience with our Booking.com referral link. https://www.booking.com/index.html?8 equals 7989335 as a great choice to plan your next trip. You can find and book flights, hotels, cars, and local attractions all in one place. And their price match guarantee ensures you're getting the best deal. Thank you for kind support our Anhub Metaverse channel, and please watch more interesting videos here.